Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Be with Maya. My name is Maya Shavin, and today we're going to discuss a bit different than we usually do. So, the topics today will be on the difference between raising concerns and become labeled as the engineering that always complains. And the reason why I talk about it is because I think this is one of the underestimate things that we encounter during our career growth that can affect us severely, especially when we are at senior levels and above. Well, first of all, let's be clear. This is not about a face positivity, which means it's not about that you should be happy, you shouldn't raise concern when something is wrong. Definitely not about accepting things that it's not supposed to accept or pretending that problem doesn't exist. Well, our job is to raise awareness. Our job is to challenge and to question the architectures to make sure that everything at least meet a certain standard to help our team grow. That's definitely a must. But there's a huge difference between identifying the problem, raising the concern, than building your own identity around complaining about them. And that difference change a lot and it's impact a lot, especially your own career growth and opportunity. And let's talk about why. We all at least once in our life become a new engineer in a team, right? So, or we join in a new team, or we join in an existing code base that we have to maintain, and it's almost always that we will have a lot of questions, a lot of complaint, and a lot of concern about it. Have you ever heard someone that new to the team and say, "This code base looks terrible. Why don't you have any documentations? Why there's so much technical debt? Is the implementation is really bad? Management doesn't care about us. They don't understand how we work, so on and so forth." Well, it's also during the meeting, also one on one. We always likely hearing at least one of the engineer will say that. So honestly, it's not like we're wrong. I mean, sometimes we're right. We know that we're right when we complain about it because the code base is actually bad. The implementation is actually bad. The collaboration with other team is actually bad. But after a while, you will see that um, people who are you complaining to will not listen to you anymore. So there's a very thin line between complaining and complaining too much, right? So once people start to notice the negativity that came in from you, then things become different. And even if you are technically correct, it doesn't mean that you are doing something impactful by complaining about it. When we think about it, complaining is the easiest way to feel productive. I mean, it's the most straightforward for you to start a contribute, or at least we think that we're contributing, because especially if when we are very experienced engineers, we quickly identifying the flaws, the risks, on the problems, the architecture problems, and because we're coming from a somewhere good, then we come to here, we saw everything is bad. We feel like by reasoning, we are contributing value. Well, the truth is, that to some extent, we are contributing. That's why when the newcomer join a team, usually the manager will be interested in hearing the feedback. What do you think about the code base? What do you think about the technical level of the team? And so on and so forth. Awareness really matter because without it, there's no improvement. But the problem is, if you only raise awareness alone, it would not be enough. Well, at junior level, no one expect you to develop a solution. They just expect you to raise awareness. But for senior and staff level onwards, this change. So let me tell you a story. Well, a while ago, we have a problem with collaborating with additional team because we build in our solution on top of their platform, and their platform have some bugs, and because we really dependent on their platform and their development cycle, so we have to collaborate with them very closely. And there was a period that we couldn't do anything because they've been a bottleneck to us. They stop us from merchant PR. They didn't tell us anything about their plan, and we end up with a lot of regressions not on our code. So we roll out something that is not working because they changed last minute. We always start our meeting with, this team blocked me from this. It's very hard to continue like this. We cannot meet the deadline. They've been very horrible to work with. They're not responding, and a lot of things like that. Almost every day we hear the same story. And but then one of the thing my managers asked me make me realize that I should not do the same thing. So she's actually asked me, so what do you think we should do about it? So that's the different expectation. So when they hear that this is not working, your managers or the upper manager will start thinking, so what should we do about it? Okay, it's broken, fine, I know it, but what are you going to do it? Complaining is not solving it, right? So what are we going to do? Who are we going to talk to? What trade-off are we going to do in order to make it move forward? How are we going to improve this current situation? And how are we going to move forward under this kind of limitation overall? Because anyway, we working in teams and collaboration, so we never really work alone, and our working condition is far from being perfect. You make think that your current workplace, your current team is the perfect place, everyone collaborating very well, but you never know, someone from outside of the team will look into the team, collaborate with your team and say, hey, that your code base is really bad. You never know, right? There's always have something in between. Something is not perfect. Let's say a product description is not well written, some deadline that is so tight, and again, make us dependent on other teams, so we wouldn't make to that deadline that were given to us. Resource limitation, technical debt, alignment, so on and so forth. So with all of this, we always have problems to complain about. We always have something we should raise awareness. But raising awareness, put a full stop to it, is not helping us. And solving this problem is actually much harder than spotting them because it's easy to point a finger. But to sit down and to think about how to solve it requires a lot of effort and a lot of work. I would say most of the time we as engineer likely underestimate our reputations and how important it is to our career growth opportunity. So we have an assumption that our engineering reputation is all about technical excellency, which means how good we are, how we are technical good about something, how experienced we are, how we do also mentorship and stuff like that. Yes, that's true. That's absolutely true. I mean, you need to be technically strong in order to consider a good engineer in general. But that would not be just that. People also look at build your own reputation, build your reputation image in their mind according to how you behave. So, how the impressions were built, I mean, not you build the impression, how the other people get the impressions about you. That's based on the interaction with you, right? So every criticism, every sarcasm, negativity, every constant complaint, such as, it will never work, things is broken, something like that. All of this complaining, if it happen every single interactions in a frequent basis, then eventually people will start to think of you as someone that problematic. Your name or your reputation will be tied to something not positive. Even if you are really technical strong, you really experienced. When you move towards to senior and staff level, or when people start to consider you for a promotion, these are the influence they are looking right at, and it's become very very important because these roles are very impactful. So you actually make an impact, you actually influence people. So let's think about it. If you are all the time complaining about something is not working, and if your junior come to you and say, what do you think about that? And you say, it will never work. What kind of energies vibe are you giving to your junior? When people were asking, like if someone asks you about you, what the people would say, can you collaborate with others? Can you help moving things forward? Can you create clarity? And can you make the team better, or can you improve the energy within the team? These are the questions that they will look at your impact overall when you facing career growth opportunity. If they influence badly, negatively on the team will not respond positive, which means that instead of making the team better, you're actually making the team worse. And then people cannot collaborate with you because all the time working with you always start with complaining, and complaining again is bring very bad energies to others, and that means in the long term you will stop being invited to any discussion that is important, because again, not because you are wrong all the time, not because you don't have anything to say. It's maybe because you have too much things to say and too much things that is not helpful to anyone to say, or at least under their eyes it's not helpful because you're just complaining. And this is the part that is challenging the most when we become seniors, because it's hard to know where the border of complaining or raising concern or raising awareness too much, right? When we are early in our career, it's easy to think, well, why don't they just fix it? Or maybe they need to fix it. Why someone need to do something about it? Someone need to make the onboarding process easier. Well, why don't they just make things easier? Why it's so hard? But then later you realize that all of this was done under a certain limitation. So the product description may take long, may not be fully written because we don't really have a customer yet. So whatever we have right now, we are actually what you call it, brainstorming, or the onboarding process wasn't smooth because we haven't have a new team member coming for a while, or if you want to fix the current standard of the code base, but there's other mitigations risk is going on right there, and it's just not in priorities from the leadership's point of view. A lot of things can make these problems stay where they are at the moment at your tech dev, and everyone knows it but no one do anything about, or simply because no one thought of it. So it doesn't mean that we shouldn't do anything about it. It doesn't mean that okay, we have constraint, we have limitations, and things happen because it's happened, and if it works we shouldn't touch it. Why this sentence is true, this is not how you should approach the problems. And we as a strong engineers will learn how to improve it. We'll learn how to think a way to make it things better. Which means in one hand you actually raised awareness, you actually raised concern, you was actually saying that oh, the team is not working with us. They've been blocking us for achieving our goal. But the next thing we need to raise is what are you proposing to change? There's one thing that I always teach myself. If I ask if I have to raise questions, say someone need to do something, someone need to fix this, someone need to improve this. The answer most likely will be someone is you, who has the senior most in the team, who has a staff engineer, or just you who care about that enough. And most of the time, when you raise it to your managers and you say you propose the solutions, it will get accepted because maybe your manager is just waiting for someone to raise it and raise a solutions for it, not just the problem. So, as the strong engineer, we learn how to propose solutions. We learn how to influence. We learn how to prioritize, and we also learn how to get into a solution that working well under these conditions. So it's not like we can really replace the team that we having trouble working with another team, because that's the team. That's the condition. That's the thing that you get. You cannot replace it. They are important. They are your platform team that giving the foundation for all your work. So we need to change our mindset and try to figure out a way that we can work with them instead of trying to make them work with us. So that's the biggest shift. That's the biggest change for us, which from being technically correct to being absolutely impactful. When you whine or when you criticize, everything stay the same. Nothing changed, right? So what you should ask after whining up is that what happened afterwards? What happened after you raised this awareness? Does the conversation move forward? Did you get anywhere from it? Did you get a solution from it? Or you just raise awareness and forget about it? Well, that's the thing. Don't stop at this sucks, okay? Don't stop right there, because if we criticize and we don't do anything about it, it's usually good for nothing feeling. And we talk about being a good engineer or being a senior engineer is about ownership. So this is actually about ownership. So we can criticize, but we also need to think about owning the solutions to our criticism. It doesn't mean that every time when someone criticizes something, everyone complain about something, you have to jump right it and be the one who personally fix everything. I say before that most of the time when I found myself asking the question, someone need to do something about it, and someone, usually me, it also doesn't mean that someone is 100% of the time will be me, right? So ownership, it doesn't really mean you have to be the one who do everything. Sometimes it's just about that you suggest a solution for it, you suggest alternative, you do some more clarifications, or you can also help prioritize, or you can create, like, in case that you need to do couple of collaborations adjustment with other team, you can help to form a small group that working on some sort of documents, like agreement on how we work together, and brainstorm a bit more about how we should move forward from here with other team, or maybe facilitate a meeting, a conversation where all the people can raise their concern and figure out the best way that match between these teams. A lot of things you can also do small stuff, or you can also do document the onboarding process for yourself, who whatever works for you, so that the next person can come in and will be easier for them. So that said, what important here is you complain, yes, but you move forward with the complaint, with your complaints, instead of just raising it or diagnostic it and leave it for good God know for what. So you part of it, you owning it, you try to think of way to solve the problem, or maybe suggest some way to solve the problem and push it to better direction. That is the difference between criticism and ownership. And especially nowadays when we have AI involved in our workflow, which is things must become much more harder. Let's say we can always criticize AI for something. We can also criticize about hallucinations, security risks, and some performance issue that it may have with all this AI involved in our code that they don't know. Yeah, criticizing again is really easy to do. It's a really easy things to do. But how are we going to improve that is another questions, the follow-up questions. How are we going to make that AI generated code will not be hallucinated, will not give us as much bad code as it were before? How are we going to develop the framework where we can help the team to move forward responsibly with AI involved? Because again, no one are going to stop using AI. You can think that we may be able to go back to 2023 before all these AI things happen. The answer is no. AI is here, it's going to stay, it's going to be involved. People will use AI to generate the PR, people will use AI to write code, help them to trap their technical decision, even propose technical decisions or answer you in your PR comment. I know it's absolutely frustrating when you have to work with AI, but what comes after the too much is entirely up to us. We need to figure out how we are going to own this, how we going to drive the team move forward together with AI responsibly and take the most of AI and reduce as much as we can on this bad stuff, right? At some point of your career, you'll figure out that growth is dependent more on soft skill than technical skill. And reputation is not just about being technical strong. It's about other people, how they interpret about you, how you make an impression on them. And people will start evaluate you based on your attitude, based on the way you handle things, your ownership, how you collaborate with other things, and how you help to drive things forward. Like make a positive influence across the team, within the team. So be careful if your name become associated with negative feedback like complaining, then it will affect your growth significantly more than you realize. And again, like we said, it doesn't mean that you should shut up or you should not raise your concern, you should not criticize anything. But it means that if you push back something, you have to understand that you need to get alternative. So complaining is very easy. The hard part is what come after the complaining and help to improve the complaints that you just gave. And that is where we actually maturing in our career. Thanks for listening to this episode of Be with Maya. If this resonates with you, share it. And if you really enjoy this kind of conversations about engineering growth, career, ownership from the personal experience point of view, follow Be with Maya on Spotify, YouTube,